In this video, I'm going to show you the ultimate guide to generating roofing leads effortlessly, with a process so simple that will deliver consistent, predictable appointments month after month without needing to manage a team or having to go out under the sun and door knock. My name's Andreas, and for the past 4 years, we've been helping roofing pros and solar pros scale completely on autopilot, like in the case of Guillermo, who scheduled 29 appointments in 30 days, or Francisco that generated 70 leads in just 30 days. I'm going to show you the complete walkthrough of why the traditional lead gen channels are broken, since homeowners no longer respond the same to radio ads, to door knocking, to cold calls. They're tired of all those outdated methods. I'm going to give you a breakdown of every acquisition channel available, with the pros, the cons, and which one is best for you specifically. We'll also take a look at the most common mistakes that will guarantee you burn thousands of dollars. With AI becoming even more prevalent today, we'll also take a look at how to implement them correctly to replace all your door knockers, all your cold callers, and all your appointment setters. And most importantly, how to start getting results today with the information that I'm going to give you right now. Because most roofing pros remain stuck in outdated acquisition methods that guarantee mediocre results, since today's homeowners are accustomed to having infinite options and complete control over every purchasing decision. They don't want to be getting hit with phone call after phone call or with endless people trying to knock at their door. They want to feel like they're in control. So the new homeowner buying process is awareness, where they understand what they're actually signing up. They're looking at different options in the market and then making the best decision out of the entire research that they made on their phone. They don't need to drive out to your store or call one of your reps. They can just do all the searching online on YouTube, on Google, ChatGPT, you name it, they're going to be online. This new consumer psychology makes traditional roofing lead gen not just ineffective, but actively harmful to your business. Since door knocking, once the backbone of roofing sales, has become increasingly viewed as an intrusion. Cold calling faces similar challenges, but amplified. The modern homeowner screens calls, blocks unknown numbers, and considers unsolicited calls a waste of time. And since even the government is aware of this issue and will ban cold calling soon, the signs are clear. These channels are not just ineffective, they're becoming problematic. The methods and the canvassing approach that worked 5 years ago creates active resistance today. When a homeowner feels pressured or cornered, they'll develop a negative association with your company. So even if you hit them with radio ads or billboards, they'll no longer be interested in talking to you. That's why the problem goes much deeper than just ineffectiveness. These approaches fundamentally misunderstand today's buying psychology. Modern consumers don't want to be sold to, they want to feel educated and empowered to make their own decisions. As I said previously, most research begins online, where homeowners educate themselves before ever speaking to a sales rep. That's why after a long day of door knocking and getting hit with dozens of rejections, most roofers think that it's a competition or maybe their sales reps are underperforming. But the truth is that the misalignment with traditional channels creates a lose-lose scenario. Your sales team faces constant rejection, while homeowners form negative impressions of your company. And the companies that recognize this shift and adapt their approach are thriving, while those clinging to outdated methods are struggling to survive. Because just imagine your dream sales process. Do you picture a system that closes deals without you having to do anything? Or does it involve managing a team and going out under the sun facing constant rejection? I'd imagine if you had to choose one of them, you would probably choose the automated version, because the amount of results that you get for the time invested is not directly tied to your time like it is with door knocking and cold calling. If you door knock for 2 hours, you might get 2 leads. But to get another 2 leads, you still have to knock those 2 hours. But with automated systems like social media or a couple other ones that we'll take a look at in a little bit, you can invest 1 hour and get 50, 100, 200 leads, which means that you're not tied to your results. Because here's the thing, there are only 2 ways of generating leads. You either trade your time to generate them or you trade your money. Simple as that. There's no other way. If you trade your time, it will involve calling, door knocking, or going to events. While none of these cost you anything out of pocket, it just costs the most important resource at your disposal, time. You can always make more money, but you can't get any time back. Even if you have a lot of success with these acquisition methods, you'll always be capped. If you want more sales, you either work more or hire more people and deal with managing them consistently. The harsh realization that you can't step away from the business without the lead flow completely stopping has made smart sales reps look for a more effective alternative, because they realize that in order to scale in the most effortless and lean manner, you can't follow the strategy that has 99% of sales reps selling a couple deals a month while working overtime. While you could be focusing your time on implementing systems that get results without you needing to lift a finger, most people choose to go the free route, just door knocking, cold calling, where they're constantly chasing and not attracting the clients. But the truth is that if you want to have a business that has the capability of scaling without you being tied to it, we must look into acquisition channels that have the power not just to reach one person at a time, but an entire city. Of course, the traditional channels would be billboards, newspapers, and radio. They have the power to reach hundreds of people, but they are extremely expensive while being limited by their effectiveness, since the barrier from someone being interested to actually contacting you is super high. Just imagine if someone sees a billboard and they're interested in your services, are they really going to pull over, type in the phone and call you, or remember to call you later at night? Most likely they're not going to do so. Same thing goes with radio. The energy that they need to expend to actually call you is way too high for that to happen. Which brings us to the best of the best channels that allow us to scale aggressively, and these are digital mediums like social media. Everybody is already on their phone. Everybody has a social media account. You just need to leverage those accounts to reach not only your neighborhood, but an entire city or the entire country if you wanted to. If you implement it correctly, they instantly reach thousands of people and they can take action right away. Everybody is already on social media platforms like Facebook or Instagram. We just need to show the right proposal to the right person. If it aligns with what they're looking for, taking action is just one click away. And the best thing about this process is that once you crack the code, scaling is as simple as reaching more people, which means just spending more money on what's already working. You don't need to hire another marketing manager, just one system to get you all the results, because the more you spend on social media, the more people you reach, as opposed to door knockers where you have to hire an entire army to reach the neighborhood. As soon as you're getting a positive ROI from social media ads, spend more and you'll make more, because you know exactly your cost per lead and you know what makes people take action to go from just an interested person that opted into information to an appointment and actually a deal closed. Of course, it sounds simple on paper. Create a nice ad that speaks to homeowners. They'll send their information and they'll be waiting for you to close the deal. It's simple, but getting the process dialed in is not easy. But don't worry, we'll take a look at that in the following sections. Because the most common concerns that roofing pros have with online ads are, if everyone sees the ad, won't I get all sorts of unqualified people? And that's a valid concern and will absolutely happen if you implement the wrong funnel. If you've already tried social media ads, you probably had this happen to you. But to secure only qualified leads, we must implement a form that disqualifies leads the moment they select an option that indicates they're not qualified. Otherwise, we'll just waste our money and our time. Another common concern is, what if I want to target a very specific area? And with social media, you have the power to go as broad as the entire country or as narrow as a zip code. Usually, the more broad the targeting, the cheaper the lead cost is going to be. But you always have the power to go as narrow as you want. And finally, what if you don't want to show up in the ads? And lately, our faceless ads with voiceovers have proven to be just as effective as when we have actual people showing up in the ads. So don't worry about that. Now let's get into the most common mistakes that will guarantee you burn thousands of dollars. Because there are two very simple ways to burn your money fast. Number one is buying leads or appointments from another company. And number two is trying to generate your own leads if you don't have years of experience in digital marketing. Since the promise of easy leads has made thousands of roofing pros fall for companies that sell leads with a back-end process that guarantees that all your effort and money will be wasted, because this is truly how these companies work. They generate leads at the lowest cost possible, and they sell it over to you at the highest price possible. But as we all know, not all leads are created equal. And to get the cheapest leads, you must offer too good to be true promises. An ad that guarantees a free installation from the government, or no lawns, or we install the roof without you needing to take out a loan, or makes any of the other promises that we're all familiar with, will always get cheaper leads than a real ad that gives an accurate expectation of what they're going to get once they opt in. This way, these companies generate tons of volume upfront for a very little price, but the entire backend will become impossible for you, since the people who opt in most likely won't answer, won't have any idea what you're talking about, or will simply not even know what they opted into. If you've bought leads in the past yourself, or have any other colleagues that have done so, you probably know this exact experience has happened to at least some of them. At the beginning, you'll think the company is doing a good job for the first couple of days, since you're getting a ton of leads. But then you'll realize that none of them will actually close. And it's even worse, because most of these companies actually resell the leads to multiple roofing pros, which guarantees that you're going to be dealing with 5 other companies fighting for the same prospect. The second method to burn your hard-earned money is trying to generate your own leads if you're not an experienced digital marketer. If you don't have the right ad and the right backend process, it's incredibly easy to burn through your entire budget with nothing to show for. Because if you've tried generating leads online in the past with little success, you've probably either run your own ads or had someone who had no idea what they were doing run them for you. Once again, it's a simple process without being easy. But once you crack the code, you'll wish you had done so earlier. Because just think of it like this. Your ads are showing up to people in the selected area on their phones. If they're interested in your roofing proposal, they're going to click, and instantly you're going to get their contact info to call them up. We just need to schedule the appointment and, of course, close them up. Now, what if we want to take it a step further and replace all our door knockers, cold callers, and appointment setters with AI? Because as I just explained, traditionally, whenever someone opted into one of your ads, you'd have to call them to secure the appointment. Because if you didn't get in touch with them within the first 5 minutes of the lead opting in, the odds of booking them would go down at least by 80%. And since we don't want to be calling late at night or have to be tied to our phones the whole day waiting for new leads to come in, we must automate this process. But thanks to recent advances with AI, we now have the power to set up an assistant that will be programmed to get in touch with leads via phone call instantly. It will qualify the leads and it will book them in for appointments directly. If it's too late to call or they don't answer, an SMS assistant is vital, who has the same job: get in touch with the leads instantly, qualify them, and book them in for appointments. This way you can rest easy knowing that every penny that you invest into generating leads is being maximized with automated appointment setting. You save on the salary of a regular appointment setter, save the time training and managing, and most importantly, decrease variability on the quality of each set to ensure the prospects are actually showing up and being ready to close. This way you just focus on showing up to the appointments and closing, as opposed to wasting time desperately trying to generate interest via door knocking. And if you decide to delegate the closing, you'll have a completely automated sales process on your hands. Leads coming in 24/7, the appointments being set by the AI assistant, and finally, your closer is actually going to seal the deals. Now, the most important part: how to actually start getting results today. If you've watched this far, you probably want to scale far beyond a few sales per month, and you know that the best way to achieve it is through generating leads online, specifically through social media. To actually implement the strategies and start getting results today, you must make a key decision. Who will implement the strategy for me? And you have 3 options. You can either do it yourself, an internal team member, or an external agency. Understand that it's not the platform itself that will deliver the results just for using it. The method in which you apply the strategy will dictate the results. You can't just give Facebook a random ad and say, do your magic, get me leads, if the ad is not good. If the back-end process is not good, you're going to burn thousands of dollars on it. Depending on the quality of your ad and the funnel, that'll be your cost per result. So for example, if you and your competition both pay $30 to reach 1,000 people, but your ad is superior to theirs, with those $30 that you spend, you can generate 2 leads, as opposed to your competition who set up a mediocre ad and an inexistent sales funnel with those same $30 that they spent, they won't generate a single lead. So understand that the single most important decision you can make is whether or not to run ads on an online platform, but who will actually run them. So if you run them yourself, the pros is that you'll get a lot of experience on generating clients. You know exactly why you're getting results or why you're not getting any. But the main cons are that you're going to be spending at least 2 years learning how it works without any return of investment until everything clicks. And of course, once you're new on an online platform and actually spending your money and you see a bunch of metrics, it's very easy to feel lost. So you might want to be tempted to have an internal team member implement the campaign for you. The pros is that you get control over the whole process. You know exactly what's going on. You don't have to put in any work. But the cons are that if they're not generating any results, they won't know what to do, and neither will you. And that's probably not a spot where you want to be. The other big con is that they must be trained and have a very good idea of what they're doing in roofing specifically, because otherwise they might implement strategies from e-commerce or from another vertical, and they will guarantee that you get no results. And finally, an external agency. The pros are that they have experience with other roofing ads in the past, ideally. They have tons of data from previous clients to deliver results quickly, and you don't have to do any of the work. And the biggest con, understandably, is that it's easy to choose the wrong agency and get zero results while not understanding why. That's why you gotta make sure that you know exactly who you're doing business with, because if you select the wrong one, you're gonna have all the cons from the previous points all bunched up into one. But regardless of who you decide will run the ads, make sure to implement the following sales funnel to guarantee results. Top of funnel is going to be Facebook and Instagram or Meta. You want to select as a campaign type leads, specifically lead forms inside the platforms. If you choose a landing page, you're going to be sending a ton of people that are unqualified to a website, which you then also need to optimize. If you already have enough trouble optimizing just the ads, now imagine a website plus the ads. On the ad set, on the targeting, you don't want to do anything fancy. Just target the area that you actually want to show up in. And in the ads, create a minimum of 5 different ads. We recommend videos best. This is basically to test out which will actually perform and which won't. Turn on conditional logic on all the forms and select any qualifying questions to ensure qualified leads. You can add as many as you want. And to optimize, you just need to turn off all the ads that don't generate any leads and create more ads until you're getting leads for $20 to $30. In the middle of funnel, you want to set the appointments. If you don't have an AI agent that takes care of the appointment setting process, make sure you're calling leads within 5 minutes of them opting in. It doesn't matter the time of day. Call them to qualify and sell the appointment. You're not selling the roof yet. Finally, the bottom of the funnel, you can close yourself or delegate. But if all of this sounds like too much information, here's our offer, which will literally help you scale completely on autopilot without needing to deal with all these different systems, go through a massive learning curve where you burn a ton of money, waste your time with companies that sell leads where you don't know what you're actually going to get. So number 1, we'll build a lead generation powerhouse, delivering your ideal quantity and quality of leads through industry-leading ads and a streamlined qualification funnel that targets perfect clients in any area. Number 2, we'll implement your own AI assistant that will take care of the appointment setting so you can rest easy knowing that each lead that comes in is taken care of appropriately. And finally, we'll help you scale by solving any bottlenecks you might face throughout the entire process. So if scaling on autopilot is something that is interesting to you, click below to schedule a consulting call where we can actually walk you through the entire process to see if it makes sense for you. Remember that you can either get good at door knocking and cold calling, which means reaching just one person at a time, or you can get good at reaching an entire city with online platforms while all your competitors still struggle to dial the phones to keep their appointment setters in line and burn thousands of dollars trying to buy leads from too good to be true companies. So go ahead and click down below and I'll see you on the call.